bring me the strongest witch doctor in Tanzania and let's see what happens. When a woman is giving birth, if the head of the baby touches the clitoris of the woman, the baby will die. You know, they believe that. So you can say whatever you like. You can say that, oh, that's just their culture. Oh, that's their traditional beliefs. You can paint it however you like. At the end of the day, it's fucking stupid. I've been cut with a knife. I've been in knife fights. My life has been on the line. And I just feel like, if Tanzania is a country of peace, why on earth are all these people telling me, oh, be careful, there are thieves, there are robbers, you'll be kidnapped, Jesse, you're crazy running on the shit. And I think, well, hold on a minute, it doesn't add up. You cannot have both. Dubai is a safe country, and everyone knows in Dubai, you can park your Ferrari, put the keys to your Ferrari on top of the Ferrari, go shopping for 5 hours, come back and the keys will still be there. Here in Tanzania, one has to be very careful about the things they say publicly. Even now, right this very second, I am worried about what I can say, because you can see in the comments on my Instagram videos, like, if I just simply ask the question, is Tanzania a peaceful country? Everyone in the comments is like, oh, police are gonna come for you, you can't talk like that. And there was one player, he's number 3 for Simba. He plays left back for Simba. I think
Mohamed Hussein.
That's him. He hates me. He hated me. He was saying in English, like, why the fuck is this guy sitting with us and this and that? And Samatta was like, leave him. Imagine Tanzania having an Olympic athlete. Imagine Tanzania winning a gold medal. But Tanzania has taken that opportunity away from themselves. Why?
Jesse, you're welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm happy to be with you guys. It's a nice setup, and we've been talking for a while actually before shooting. And
2 hours.
Yeah, I can see that you guys are nice guys, so happy to be here.
Your other name is Mbongo Mchongo.
Yes.
Why Mbongo Mchongo?
So for those listeners who don't understand Swahili, Mbongo Mchongo means the fake Tanzanian, as you know, and it's actually Bongozozo, who, for those who don't know, is a big time creator, content creator in Tanzania, another British guy like me, and he gave me that name. He just saw that it clicks and it does, and people love it. So yeah.
Can you share with us more about your upbringing in England, and how did you get in Tanzania to learn Swahili?
Yeah, I'm from a town called Hemel Hempstead, which is just outside of northwest London. And my mom is English and Irish, and my dad is Egyptian. That's why I have kind of tanned skin, not like Bongozozo or a typical English person. But I see myself as, British, and I didn't really have anything to do with my dad. It's quite a complicated and very broken relationship, to be honest. So yeah, just grew up in England. Great childhood, playing football every day with my friends. Was really popular in school and loved partying, going out, girls, just normal kind of stuff. And then so the connection between like me growing up and Africa or Tanzania is, when I was 8 years old, I was watching one of those programs you might know because you lived in the UK, called Red Nose Day or Children in Need, whereby they get like famous celebrities like David Beckham or like One Direction, for example. And those celebrities go to Africa, like numerous different countries in Africa, basically in an attempt to eradicate poverty, or at least show that they're doing something good. I'm sure a lot of the time it's not actually the case or whatever, it's just kind of marketing or whatever. But anyway, I was 8 years old and I was watching one of these programs with my mom, and I just remember crying so much. It was my first time being exposed to poverty, albeit just through a TV screen. But seeing, kids with no clothes and flies on their face and swollen bellies, I just cried and asked my mom, like, why do those kids have nothing and I have all this? I don't understand. So from that moment, I said to my mom, and I said almost like every week of my life, I'm going to go to Africa, I'm going to help people. And it probably sounds, it's quite a naive thing to say, like, oh, I'm going to go to Africa and help people. And it is naive, but I was a naive 8-year-old boy. But as I got older, I learned about specific issues like child marriage and female genital mutilation. And I decided to kind of channel my desire to help people into those areas. And before Tanzania, I was in Malawi for 6 months, fighting against child marriage alongside the famous, well, she should be more famous than she is, Teresa Kachinda Moto. She's a chief in Malawi, and she's ended thousands of child marriages. So I kind of teamed up with her, you know, like voluntarily. It's not like work or anything. Yeah. And was literally pulling out young girls from child marriages, and then went back to the UK. And then shortly after that, I was just scrolling on Instagram, and I was seeing female genital mutilation in Tanzania. You know, the Kuria tribe in Musoma, Butiama, and then the Maasai in Arusha and those areas. And I was like, whoa, this is something I could help with, you know? So I initially came to Tanzania just to do like a kind of research, just my own research, because I don't really trust other people or like big organizations, you know, and statistics that you see on the internet. So I wanted to find out for myself, you know, like what's actually happening. So it started off with a 1 month trip that I ended up not getting on my return flight to England. And I made connections and ended up in Butiama in the Mara region, helping these young girls.
For the people that are curious, you mentioned before that Bongozozo is the one that gave you the name Bongo Mchongo.
Yeah.
How did you and Bongozozo meet? Because we've had Bongozozo before, and people loved that episode. They talked about the beautiful African women.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that's one of the reasons why you stayed, because of how beautiful
it's true.
our people are.
It's true.
And how did you guys meet? And
so I was coming and going Tanzania, UK, and I had been in Tanzania for 8-9 months, and I had been posting on TikTok and Instagram, and my following was going up and up and up, you know, every day, like 5,000 new followers, you know, and I was back in the UK, and Bongozozo is you know, the number one, like, Mzungu, which means white person, content creator in Tanzania, right? Probably in Africa. And he did something very admirable that I think a lot of people wouldn't do in his position. He saw me on the rise, and instead of looking at me like a rival and like, oh, who is this new guy coming onto the scene? He totally embraced me. He reached out to me. And I had been seeing him, and embarrassingly, I wasn't following him. I knew who he was, but I
thought you were a cool dude.
Yeah, I stupidly had that competitive attitude, like, oh, I'm not going to follow him. I'm going to be better than him.
Yeah.
And then I saw that he messaged me and he was following me. And I remember like showing my mum, like, Mum, Bongozozo followed me. He's messaged me. He's massive in Tanzania. And obviously, you know, I replied and we got chatting, and he just said, look, I think you're great, man. Let's meet up, you know. We could do something good together. And then we met in Tanzania. We met here in Dar es Salaam, actually, at, what's that fish market in Cape Town Fish Market. We met there. And and then like the first time I met him, he was like, dude, you have to come with me to Ivory Coast. You know, you can be an ambassador for the Tanzanian national football team.
So you guys started getting close very recently?
Because last year.
That was last year.
Yeah, Afcon, the competition was January this year. We connected like kind of, I don't know, September last year.
Oh.
Yeah. So you know when you meet someone and you just know, like, he's genuine, he's real, no bullshit. Yeah, he can be my person. So he took me under his wing, and he promoted me. You know, he was making videos like, hey, look at this guy Jesse, he's so cool. And it was when we were in Ghana, actually. So before going to Ivory Coast, we stopped off in Ghana because my sister lives in Ghana with her family. So we stayed in Ghana for a month, and whilst we were there, he was like, you know, you need a name. You can't just be Jesse, you know. And he came up with Mbongo Mchongo. It's his genius, and it stuck. Yeah.
Talking about the Afcon, you went there to support Tanzania national team.
Yeah.
And Tanzania national team, you know, they lost
Yeah.
during the very early stages.
Yeah.
And I saw one of the videos. Yeah, you are saying that. Why don't the national team call you to play instead? So do you think you can do a better job than, let's say, Jonas Mkude?
Do you know what? To be honest, I was a very talented football player, and a lot of people say that. But you know, like from the age of 7, 8, I was always the captain of my team, and I was captain of my county 3 years in a row. You know, for those who aren't familiar, counties in England are kind of like regions in Tanzania. You know, I played against Dele Alli when I was young. You know, I've played in the FA Cup, and I obviously didn't make it. You know, I did play professional football in Germany in the 5th division, and I got paid to play football week in, week out. But at the end of the day, I didn't make it to Premier League level, so I'm obviously not good enough to play for England or to play for Arsenal, you know. But when I watch the Tanzania national team, or when I watch Simba and Yanga play, I'm like, why are you making those mistakes? That's easy. Or the main thing is like decision making. I feel like their decision making is not very good. It's like they or maybe it's like a lack of organization from the coaches, but they decide to press when they shouldn't press, or like the fullback goes up. And I'm talking very like technical stuff now about football. So for viewers who aren't interested in football, they might, you know, be lost here. But yeah, you know, right now I'm not super fit, but if I was maybe 25 years old again and super fit, yeah, I definitely think I could play for like a Simba or a Yanga. Yeah.
We talked previously behind the cameras that you said Tanzania ni waoga, which means Tanzanians are afraid. Even that day you were saying, why are they not attacking?
Yeah.
So do you think they were not attacking because they're afraid?
No, I think when it came to the football tournament, you know, football is a very technical game, and I think they came up against teams that at the end of the day were just better than them. And I famously, I did the interview you're probably referring to with Miller Dow, and I broke the record for views in like inside 1 hour. Inside 1 hour, I think it had like 2 million views, my video. Because I was saying like, yeah, as you said, why aren't they calling me to play? I'm better than them. And then a couple of days after that, we went to go and meet the team. We went to the team hotel, me and Bongozozo, and most of the players welcomed me. They all knew me, like, Mbongo, mchongo, nice to see you. And I was eating food with them. And then the coach walked in. I forgot his name, but he's an Arab guy, I think Moroccan or Algerian. He doesn't speak Swahili. He walked in, and he the first person he saw was me. And he looked at me and he went, "You." And I got up, like, out of respect. I went up to try and shake his hand. And he, like, reluctantly shook my hand. And as he shook my hand, he just said directly, "Why are you here? You were talking shit about our team. Why are you here?" And I was like, "Hey, there's just a bit of criticism. You're an international football coach. You can't take some criticism." And Bongozozo was there trying to calm it down. He was like, no, relax, Jesse's cool. And he's like, no, take him away. I don't want him here. And then, do you know who was really sticking up for me? Samatta. The star of the team, Samatta. He was saying, "No, leave him. Jesse is cool. So yeah, I caused a bit of tension there. And there was one player, I forget, he's number 3 for Simba. He plays left back for Simba. I think
Mohamed Hussein.
That's him. He hates me. He hated me. He was saying in English, like, "Why the fuck is this guy sitting with us?" and this and that. And Samatta was like, leave him. But to answer your question along the way, I don't think that they were unsuccessful because they are scared. I think it's just a lack of ability, and you know, at the end of the day, some teams are better than other teams, and that's it.
You're a very big proponent of free speech.
Yes.
So I think it's very good to speak your mind, and people shouldn't be offended.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, you see, because this is something I'm very passionate about, and you know, unfortunately, I feel like here in Tanzania, one has to be very careful about the things they say publicly. Even now, right this very second, I am worried about what I can say, because you can see in the comments on my Instagram videos, like, if I just simply ask the question, is Tanzania a peaceful country? everyone in the comments is like, oh, police are gonna come for you. You can't talk like that, and just leave the country then. And so it's like you have to be careful about what you talk about, and you hear stories of people being kidnapped, or famous rappers, like Roma, being chased out of the country, kidnapped, beaten up, So I don't even know what I can say. But like you said, I am a big advocate of free speech. So I hope that one day Tanzania allows free speech, debate about any topic, religion, politics, anything. But at the moment, that's not the case. I may even get in trouble for saying that, which is crazy.
It's just your thoughts.
Yeah.
So
it's normal, people always hate what they don't understand.
Yes.
So if you might say something and people will find it strange and they'll start hating.
Yeah.
It's not because they hate what you said, because they don't understand.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
You came down here because to battle against child marriages, the genital mutilation.
Yeah.
How was that a success, or is that still ongoing? And what happened with it?
Yeah, it's obviously it's quite a complicated issue, and it's obviously very intimate, and for there's a lot of ongoing cases that obviously I can't openly discuss, but no, in general, it was a success. When I'm kind of talking in past tense there, it was a success because the truth is, at the moment, I'm no longer involved in that stuff. I'm kind of living my own life here in Dar es Salaam, and but whilst I was up there in the Mara region, Butiama, Musoma, I definitely had lots of success. Literally preventing young girls from being cut, from being mutilated, and being married off to old men, and it's still the issue is still ongoing, and I've said in other interviews, I'm very disappointed with the way that Tanzanians and the country of Tanzania in general deals with these issues, or the lack of dealing with these issues, because you speak to people in Dar es Salaam and they don't even know what ukeketaji is. Ukeketaji is the word for female genital mutilation. And in all the time I spent there on the front line, as I would say, I am sure that I have been to areas that the United Nations have never stepped foot in. I've been cut with a knife. I've been in knife fights. My life has been on the line. And I just feel like, again, I feel like I have to be careful here, but I feel like the powers that be, I'm not going to name any particular sections of any particular organization in Tanzania or anything like that. I just feel like they're not doing enough, These are Tanzanian citizens, young 8-year-old girls, younger than that, who are being, forced to have their genitals mutilated, and they're married off to old men in exchange for 10 cows, 5 cows. And no one's talking about it. No celebrities are talking about it. I don't see politicians talking about it. And at times I was like, why does it take me, a foreigner, to come here and try and fight this issue? There are some Tanzanians on the ground trying to fight this issue, but not enough.
What thing did you find wrong in doing female circumcision?
When you say what did I find wrong, what do you mean?
Because people who are doing it, they have reasons for it.
So okay, it's very difficult, and I don't want to be disrespectful here, but people like us who we clearly have common sense, it's difficult for us to understand why someone would literally mutilate the vagina of a young girl. So the reasons vary depending on when you are. For example, in Somalia, where 99% of young girls are mutilated, they believe, or a lot of them believe, that when a woman is giving birth, if the head of the baby touches the clitoris of the woman, the baby will die. Wow. They believe that. So you can say whatever you like. You can say that, oh, that's just their culture. Oh, that's their traditional beliefs. You can paint it however you like. At the end of the day, it's fucking stupid. It's 2024. They have access to science in Somalia. Somalia is not a different planet, you know. Yeah, it might be a poorer country than other countries, but they have access to medical information. So in more Arab countries like Egypt, for example, where people don't even know that women are cut in Egypt, but something like over 85% of married women in Egypt are cut, but it's very hush hush. Yeah, people don't know that. In those kinds of countries, for example, they say if a woman is in a car driving along, just a passenger or whatever, the bumps in the road will cause vibrations in her body, which will then stimulate her if she has a clitoris, which will then lead her to go and cheat on her husband, or have the desire to be horny and go and cheat on her husband. So they remove that risk by removing the clitoris. So obviously we know that that's stupid, you know? You know, in Tanzania, what I found is because I've sat with these people, I've sat with mothers of girls who have cut their daughters or who plan to cut their daughters. And I ask them directly, why are you doing this? What is the benefit? And they don't have an answer. They just say, we're doing it. We're just doing it. Our mum did it. Our grandmother did it. So we're doing it. And if you speak to Maasai people, the Maasai tribe, probably the most famous tribe in Africa, up there in Arusha region, the demand from the Maasai culture, it really comes from the men. A lot of Maasai men won't marry a girl unless she's cut. So what typically happens, and I've been and interviewed, and I've put this on my social media, I've interviewed a lot of these Maasai villages. A man will go to a family's house and say, hey, I want to marry that girl. It doesn't even matter how old she is, really. You know, she could be 9 years old, whatever. One Maasai guy, and I posted this, he even told me that he could approach a pregnant woman and ask her, is that baby in your womb a female or a male? If she says a female, he'll say, okay, I will marry her. Like when she's born, she's my wife. I'm sure he would wait until that young girl is at least of some kind of age, you know, rather than having sex with a 1 week old baby. But say he approaches a family where a girl is 10 years old, 13 years old, whatever. He will ask them, okay, I want to marry this girl. Is she cut? And if they say no, he will say, okay, cut her and I will come back with 10 cows, 15 cows. So the demand comes from the men in certain cultures, particularly the Maasai culture. And, you know, a lot of these families, and I saw this as well in Malawi with child marriage, a lot of these families are living in poverty and they maybe have 5 kids already. And so their youngest daughter, you know, it could be seen as like a financial burden to the family. So a guy comes along and says, hey, I'll take that financial burden off of your shoulders. You know, like, you can't afford to feed all your children, so let me take your daughter as my wife. And you know, I used to think like, do these parents not love their children because they're just giving their children away? But I've sat with these people and I've spoken to them and they do love their children, but it's like in their head, they're like, what's better? My child starves and has no food, or even though she's 12 years old, she marries this 30-year-old man and he provides for her. And they go with the second option a lot of the time. So it's difficult for us to understand.
It's a perspective, or it's something I've never heard before. As I said, maybe you're in the country, but no one's really talking about it.
Yeah, if you're here in Dar es Salaam, no one is talking about that kind of stuff.
So you distancing yourself from that, is it because of the ongoing situations, or is it because you decided?
No, do you know what? The reality is, I wanted to open my own safe house. So I was helping at an existing safe house already, which was being run by a Tanzanian person. And the truth is, we fell out. This Tanzanian lady, I'm not going to name her. I could name her, but I'm not going to name her. But she's evil. She gets a lot of donations from Westerners, Germany, Canadians, British people. They're literally sending her $5,000, $10,000 towards what they think is going towards the benefit of these young girls, you know, to buy bunk beds or to send certain girls to school, university. But really, the money is going all in this lady's pocket. She's a Tanzanian lady, and you know, we were very close. She took me in. I stayed in her house, But yeah, you know, she's just very corrupt.
So you came to find that out after staying with her.
Yeah. You know, for the first like 6 months, you know, we got on really well, and I was really helping them. I was using my own money to buy whatever the girls needed, food, everything. And then I started to see the truth, and girls were running away, and then they had my phone number, and then they'd phone me and say, Jesse, please can you help me? I had to run away because Mama, I'm not going to say her name, did this and I was supposed to go to school and she didn't let me go to school and this. So
did you ever confront her?
Yeah. We had a big fallout, and I said, okay, I need to open my own safe house. And I tried to do that in Arusha. And I, you know, when one is trying to do something charitable, like opening up a safe house or opening up an orphanage or something, they shouldn't use their own money, you know? It should be donated money, or it should be like the government should be helping. I struggled to get the donations from the government. I struggled to get donations from outsiders. And I thought, you know, I'm not rich. I'm not a millionaire. I can't be putting all my money into this. And then I met my wife, and fairly soon she got pregnant. And I just thought, I need to put my family first, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm trying to better the life of me and my family, my wife and my son. And then when I'm in a bit of a better place, or if a big, you know, company decides, okay, yeah, we want to partner with you, Jesse, on this project, then I will be able to continue with my dream and my goal of helping more kids.
Talking about having a wife and a kid, you know, previously you used to keep it as a secret.
Yes.
Yeah. Why did you decide to keep that a secret? You know, and why right now you are exposing it?
Yeah, it's a good point. So that's right. When I first got with my now wife, you know, I was desperate to post her. I'm so proud of her. She's so beautiful. I wanted to show her off to the world. That Tanzanians were so intrigued. Oh, who has Jesse married, or who is he going out with? But my wife is just not a social media person. You know, she barely uses Instagram. She has like 100 followers. She never posts, and she doesn't want the fame. And you know, we would walk around together in Dar es Salaam, Mlimani City, and people would stop us and take pictures of us. And there was one time we were walking through Mlimani City, and these three girls, they were all wearing hijabs actually, which is irrelevant, but they were sat on a bench and they were taking pictures of me and my wife. And I know that's normal, but we got past them and my wife turned around and said, why are you taking pictures of us? Don't take pictures of us. And I had to tell my wife, like, no, babe, they are allowed to do that. You know, there is a thing called, like, you know, I forgot what it's called, but it's a free country. Anyone can take a picture of anyone. If you decide to go out into public, and a lot of people don't know this, you know, some celebrities even get annoyed or they say, don't take pictures of me, but everyone has the right to take a picture of anything in a public space.
Yeah.
And I had to tell my wife that. So, yeah, anyway, then, you know, especially like during the pregnancy, I really wanted to share the whole world. You know, it's something that us Westerners, British people do. We share good news. But I've learned that a lot of Tanzanians, they like to hide good news until the thing has happened. So a pregnancy is a perfect example. They like to keep it on the low. And then once the baby has come out and the baby is healthy, then they're okay to share that. So the reason that I now post her is because I persisted and I persisted. And I said to her, babe, we could make so much money from couple content. Couple content is so big. We need to start YouTube. We need to post couple content. And I told her like how much money other people are making from couple content. And she said, okay, fine, let's do it. So yeah, I was so happy when she agreed.
Your wife is Tanzanian.
Yeah.
So what the experience of having a Tanzanian black wife compared to European white women?
Okay.
Because my personal experience is most of white women are cold and black women are hot.
Yeah.
What's your experience?
Well, this is an interesting topic. So there's there's obviously lots of different aspects to it. Okay, so I won't right now. I won't talk about like physical appearance or whatever, but you know, I know Bongozozo spoke about this a little bit on your episode with him, but Western women, British, European, American women, they're all about like 50-50. Yeah. But they're very, what's the word I'm looking for? Hypocritical. Because they want 50-50 in terms of like work around the house. Like, I cooked today, or I cooked yesterday, so you cook today. I'm not washing the dishes, you wash the dishes. They want that kind of 50-50, but they don't want 50-50 when it comes to paying for things, you know? You go out to a restaurant, they expect you to pay. Whereas here in Tanzania, yeah, women expect you to pay for everything, but they're happy to do all the housework. You know, I'm nearly 30 years old and I've been around the world, and you know,
I'm pretty sure right now people are very confused. You're 30.
Yes, I'm nearly 30 in January. I know I look a lot younger, right? It's like I've got that Tanzanian glow.
Yeah.
But look, I've been around the world. I've been with many women in my life, and Tanzanian women are unique because they're like you said. You described them as hot, as in I don't think you were talking about like physically, which they are hot physically, but you were talking about like personality-wise, right?
Body temperature, actually.
Body temperature. You mean like physical temperature, like touching them?
Meaning like, you know, hot.
Like sexy. That's what you mean? You mean temperature?
Yes.
This is the first time I'm hearing it.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. But maybe because
So wait,
Tanzania
so
is hot.
European cold.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Body temperature. Yeah, body temperature.
Are you talking from experience?
Maybe he has a point, because like England is a cold country, so
No, but the body temperature is the same.
yeah, it's the same. It's
I think maybe
37 degrees, right?
because of the skin tone. If you are
Melanin.
a little bit darker, and it observes more heat.
No, but if you touch me and him, we're supposed to be the same body temperature because it's body temperature.
Generally,
Yes.
like most of them,
Uh-huh.
they are much colder.
Okay.
That's my personal experience.
It's your
Yeah.
personal experience.
Okay. Well, aside from body temperature, physically, I find Tanzanian women so attractive, and it's not just their bodies, because I mean their bodies are incredible. You know, like there's no comparing the shape of a Tanzanian woman's body, and I'm sure that it's not disrespectful to say that. You know, the reality is reality. Maybe a few like Western feminists would get annoyed at this, but the shape of a Tanzanian, you could even extend it to just general African woman's body. It's just, there's no competition with European. And look, some men don't care about the shape of a woman's body.
Yeah.
Some men just care about the face. But Tanzanian women, they're not just more attractive physically, they're more attractive with their behavior, you know, like they're more interested in you. They're like, maybe it's just my experience as a mzungu, like an outsider, but you know, Tanzanian women are like, oh hey, how you doing? How are you? And they're smiling straight away. Whereas Western women, they're kind of like, they're putting you up to a challenge from the beginning. They're looking at you like, yeah. And what do you do? And how much money do you make? And it's like they're challenging you from the beginning. But Tanzanian women are like, oh hi, yeah, hi. It's warmer. It's hotter. Yeah.
You're now a father.
I am now a father. Yeah.
How's that going?
Oh, you're still young, so I won't advise you. You're very young, right? You're 21, yeah.
Yeah.
So I won't advise you to like make loads of babies right now. You're not a dad already, are you? Just say the truth. You said you are earlier, but I know you were joking. He's not a dad, is he?
No, he's not.
Yeah, I know. So becoming a dad is the best thing in the world. I've always wanted to be a dad myself. I think personally, because I grew up with such a bad experience of a father.
Yeah.
I met your dad earlier. You know, he seems like an amazing man, and he's obviously been there for you throughout. I never had that. So like when I would fight when I was young in school or whatever, and the boy I was fighting would go and run and get his dad, and his dad would like shout at me. I never had that, you know, or like just playing football. I never had my dad supporting me. So I grew up thinking like I'm gonna be the best dad in the world. I want loads of sons. And now it's happening. You know, my baby boy is 6 weeks old, and it's just changed my life completely. You know, like for example, I travel on Boda Boda a lot. You know, especially with the traffic in Dar. A lot of people say to me, no, it's dangerous, but when there's so much traffic, you can be sat there for like 3 hours just going like 10 miles. So I just get Boda Boda. I never used to wear a helmet, but now that I have my son, I wear a helmet because I'm worried, you know, like if I fall off and hit my head and I die, you know, what's going to happen to my son? So I'm more careful in life now.
So your son gave you a sense of purpose.
Yes, I already had different senses of purpose, but now, yeah, I have the biggest sense of purpose, which is to create a healthy, happy environment for my son to live in and for him to thrive.
You said previously that you don't like women who goes out to nightclubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why that?
People say, you know, if you meet your wife in a bar, it's likely that when you divorce her, she'll go back to the bar. You know? Like, it's fine if a woman wants to go to a bar every now and then with her friends or whatever. But there's a reason why the divorce rate in my country and America is so high, 50%, something like that. And there's a reason why the divorce rate in, say, more like Muslim countries, for example, like Saudi Arabia or whatever, is very low, because they have such a healthy balance, or what I would call a healthy balance, you know? Western women, they just want so much freedom, and they want too much freedom. I am a huge advocate of freedom, as you mentioned earlier, free speech, freedom. But there has to be limitations, you know? We don't just let our kids be totally free and go out all night, you know, our 6-year-old child. No, there's a limit to his freedom. And there should be a limit to a woman's freedom, you know? Like, if you wouldn't like your wife to be in a bar or a club until like 2 o'clock at night drinking alcohol, right? Why? Because we know what happens to those women in clubs who are drinking alcohol. They go home and they have sex with whoever they want, or they're in danger, you know. So, yeah, look, the Tanzanian women who love going out, it's almost become like a fashion statement now. I see like Tanzanian girls posting on their Instagram stories like drinking beer, drinking alcohol, like out at the club at like 3 a.m. And I'm like, what are you doing? But I know that I personally think, and I hope I'm not disrespecting anyone, but I personally think they're just trying to like copy the lifestyle that either they see on like Western social media or that they see in like Diamond Platinum's music videos. Like, oh, well, look at those girls. They're Tanzanian and they're doing that, so that means I can do it. But no, at the end of the day, if a girl spends a lot of her 20s, you know, from the age of 20 up until, I don't know, 25, 26, 27, going to the club every weekend, drinking alcohol, and then by the time she's like 26, 27, and she's like maybe had enough of going to the club, and she thinks, okay, I want to settle down now, I want to marry someone, okay, I need to find myself a good man. Bitch, where are you going to find a good man? The good man is not going to go for you who spends all your time in clubs. He's going to go for the younger girl who has good behavior, who probably still lives at home with their family, doesn't drink alcohol. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And earlier on when we were inside, you talked about criticism you get on what you post recently. And I remember my dad was like, you should take that as an encouragement, but you said it's been getting to you because you care about Tanzanians a lot.
Yeah.
So how is that going when a lot of people are criticizing you? How do you take it? Is it because, like, why do you think you care a lot? Because you care about the Tanzanian community.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, it's important to understand that in the social media world in Tanzania, people are very forgetful. So one day people hate you, or you make a video that people don't like, and then 2 days later they'll forget about that, and you post a funny video and everyone loves you again. You know, they have a very short attention span and memory span.
Yeah.
So, you know, don't get it wrong. 99% of Tanzanians that see me on social media, they like me. Like in Swahili we say wananikubali. They agree with me. But there are people who criticize me and this and that. And like you mentioned there, recently I've been getting much more criticism than usual. So last night I posted a video whereby I showed 3 days ago I went running to do some exercise at 1 o'clock at night where I live in Dar es Salaam. 1 o'clock at night, pitch black outside, whatever, and I went running. And so many Tanzanians messaged me saying, you will be kidnapped, you will be beaten, you'll be taken, be careful, there are thieves, there are... And I thought to myself, what? The whole slogan in Tanzania, everyone says, in Swahili, Tanzania ni nchi ya amani. Tanzania is a country of peace. Everyone says that, everyone pushes that. So if Tanzania is a country of peace, why on earth are all these people telling me, be careful, there are thieves, there are robbers, you'll be kidnapped, Jesse, you're crazy running on the ship. And I think, well, hold on a minute, it doesn't add up. You cannot have both. You simply cannot have both. And I will come around to answering your question. But I think that because Tanzania has never been in a war, Tanzanians hide behind that and they say Tanzania is a peaceful country, and they're saying it because Tanzania is not in any wars and has never been in any wars. But the reality is, how can it be a peaceful country if I can't go running at 1 a.m. without people telling me you'll be kidnapped, you'll be beaten? And we've all seen videos of people being kidnapped in broad daylight. There was a video that went viral the other day. A businessman here in, I can't remember. Yeah, the fat guy. He got kidnapped in broad daylight. Where did he go? So I simply asked the question to Tanzanians. I said, but Dubai is a safe country, and everyone knows in Dubai you can park your Ferrari, put the keys to your Ferrari on top of the Ferrari, go shopping for 5 hours, come back and the keys will still be there. Do you think you can do that in Tanzania? No way. No way. That's the truth. That's not my opinion. So I simply asked the question. I didn't say, Tanzania is a bad country. Tanzania is not a peaceful country. I asked the question, really, is Tanzania a peaceful country? And Tanzanians went crazy in the comments. You just read the comments there. Some of them are saying like, get out of Tanzania then. If you don't think Tanzania is safe, get out of Tanzania. Rudi kwenu in Swahili. And I'm like, hold on a minute. So instead of answering my question directly, you're choosing to be aggressive and to fight me. Like, why? Why not just answer the question? And I know that their choice of not answering the question, that is answering the question. And it's showing like that they're so defensive, and it's like, why? Why are you defensive? Why? And again, you mentioned before, like Tanzania ni waoga, which means like, I think the word is cowards. Yeah, Tanzanians in general are cowards. A lot of them, again, and it's important to mention, when I say Tanzanians, I'm not talking about all Tanzanians, right? I'm generalizing, but it's okay to generalize sometimes. Generally, they're scared of the truth. They're scared of debate. They're scared of just reality, and they want to hide behind comedy or things like that. They don't want to address real issues. And Nick Bongozozo has raised real issues as well. For example, when his children turned 18 years old, they had to choose, do they want Tanzanian citizenship or British citizenship? Tanzania doesn't allow dual citizenship. Why? What is the reason? I don't think the Tanzanian government has ever come out and stated the reason why. Many countries, Nigeria, Ghana, many countries in Africa offer dual citizenship. So that's something that Bongozozo was talking about, and he was heavily criticized for that. Like, just be quiet, just get back to making your funny videos. It's like whenever an important issue is raised, many Tanzanians just say, we're not talking about that. Why? Let's talk about it.
Tanzania has peace, but the main problem is poverty. I think peace and poverty cannot go together.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why you cannot, let's say, keep your car with the key outside.
Yeah.
Because people are peaceful, but they're hungry, so they would want to take it so that they can solve their hunger problems.
Yeah, it's true. And a lot of people said that. And you're right. What you're saying is right. Like people would rob you or steal because they're hungry. But then again, I say, like, so that means you can't have both then. You can't say that Tanzania is a peaceful country, but at the same time, you admit that, oh, yeah, well, if you leave your car keys on top of your car, of course it's going to get stolen. Or if you run at 2 o'clock in the middle of the night, you will be robbed, or there's a high chance you will be kidnapped. You can't have both. You have to kind of admit, like, okay, we want Tanzania to be a peaceful country, and most Tanzanians are peaceful, but there are these problems, which then means that it's not exactly a peaceful country.
I think it's more of a coward country. Maybe we can put it that way.
Yeah.
Because you also talked about the issue of dual citizenship.
Yeah.
I find it very weird as well. Because when we go to other countries, they can give us citizenship.
Yeah.
But when you do that, you lose your Tanzanian citizenship.
Yes.
Yeah. And one of the reasons is because of poverty. I think most Tanzanians think that when we invite like Westerners, and they are rich, they'll come here and buy all of our land and take advantage of it.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons.
Yes.
As well.
And like, for example, with Bongozozo's son, Mickey, he's a very special athlete. He's a very talented runner. He runs like marathons. He runs like 5 kilometers. He's super fast. I think for his age group at one time, he was like number 1 in England. He's a superstar. Yeah. And so if he continues to excel in his sport, he could be in the Olympics, right? But, and he would love to represent Tanzania in the Olympic. Imagine Tanzania having an Olympic athlete. Imagine Tanzania winning a gold medal. But Tanzania has taken that opportunity away from themselves. Why? It's crazy. And my son, I'm gonna push my son. My son is gonna be a superstar in whatever he chooses to be. I love football and sport, so I'm gonna push my son into football. And if he doesn't want to be a football player, which I doubt, then he'll be a boxer. If he doesn't want to be a boxer, I'll support him in something else. Maybe he wants to be a famous musician, a piano player, whatever. But imagine he becomes a superstar football player, and he ends up playing for Manchester City or Barcelona. But Tanzania won't allow him to have dual citizenship. What if he wants to play for Tanzania? It's ridiculous. Anyway, yeah.
You are criticized a lot for a lot of things.
Yeah.
From what you speak about, your mindset, and recently you've been criticized even for how you raise your baby, how you post your baby. So, how do you handle that criticism?
Oh God, this is something that shocks me every time I see it. So, yeah, I post my baby. He's six weeks old now. I post him. I post his face. But whatever, I post him. And every time I post him, there are hundreds of comments from Tanzanians saying, "Oh, don't post your baby. Oh my God, that's so bad. Wait till he's older. There are evil spirits out there. Oh my God. Oh, I pray for your baby." So I ask these people. Some of them just say, "Don't post your baby. It's not good." And I challenge them. I say, "Why?" And then they say, "Because of evil spirits. Evil spirits, they will do very bad things to your baby." And this whole belief in evil spirits, it's deeply ingrained in Africa, along with witchcraft. I don't know about you guys. I mean, you guys are Tanzanian. I know, Monty, you were born and raised in the UK, but I don't know what your personal beliefs are. Maybe we disagree. But I and a lot of the world don't believe in evil spirits. We don't believe in witchcraft. And I know educated Tanzanians that have been to university who genuinely believe that a stick can talk. When I say stick, I mean a wooden stick from a tree. They believe that a witch doctor can make a stick talk, and they've said to me they've seen it with their eyes.
But Jesse, where Musa is from, those things do happen. So Musa, I think you should go on an experimental tour.
Okay.
Say goodbye to your son, say goodbye to your wife. Go on an experimental tour.
So
And Musa will take you
yeah,
deep roots deep down there to
Good.
show you these things.
good. I made it.
I've heard of those things as well.
Yeah.
I've never seen with my own eyes. Never.
You hear
I've
that?
never experienced. No,
You hear that?
But I hear from people, from my close friends,
Yeah.
even family sometimes.
Yeah.
But myself personally, with
Yeah.
my own eyes, I've never witnessed
So
anything like that.
everyone has heard of it, but no one's seen it. They claim to see it, but it's not true. You know, like,
So do you think it's just a belief?
yes, and it's not just a belief. It's a belief that is dragging Africa down. It's dragging Tanzanians down. It's keeping Tanzanians down because that mindset is it's parasitic. It's like a disease. Having that mindset, it's closing your mind. I have made a video recently. I said in Swahili, "Bring me the strongest witch doctor in Tanzania, and let's see what happens." I was in Malawi, like I said, before I came to Tanzania, and they have a tribe there called the Guliwanguru, and they are heavily involved in witchcraft, what they claim to be witchcraft. And I was walking through my local village one day, holding the hands of these young kids, and I was a coach of a football team, and I had all my people with me. When I say my people, I don't mean white people, I mean Malawians. And these guys jumped out from behind some houses, some mud huts, and they had painted their whole bodies white. They had feathers in their hair. They were wearing a mask, and they jumped out from behind these houses, and they made a stupid noise like "Bleh!" And they were doing some crazy chants like some stupid stuff, and they terrified these young girls. This one young girl, she was holding my hand. She was like 5 years old. And when this guy came out, she tried to run away so much. She was so strong, she even pulled me with her. And I said to my friends who spoke English, what's going on? Who are these people? And they said to me, Jesse, don't look them in the eye. Don't talk to them, Jesse. I promise you, they are witchcraft people. They will do very bad things to you. And of course, me being a British person, I was like, shut the fuck up. And I started walking over to them, and my friend grabbed me. And he said, Jesse, oh my God, if you touch them, you will die. And I said, I'm going to teach you guys something. I walked, and this is not me trying to sound like a tough guy. This is just the truth. Because it really upset me that these young kids were scared. I walked straight up to this guy, and he probably didn't even speak Chichewa, which is the main language there in Malawi. He probably just spoke his tribal language. But I spoke to him in English because I didn't speak their language. I said, what the fuck are you doing? And he just said some stuff and waving his hand in front of me. I pulled his mask down from his face. I slapped his face and I threw him to the ground, and I kicked some dirt on him. And I turned around to my friends and I said, do you see? I'm not dead. I'm alive. You need to stop believing in this stupid shit. And then they both ran away. Both of these witchcraft people, they ran away. And then I was in trouble with the local village chief, and there was a big meeting like, you can't do that again, you're disrespecting our culture and this and this and that. But I managed to, over a period of time, to teach these people, to open their minds like, look, it's not true. You thought that if I touch them, I will die. And what happened? I touched them and I didn't die. And you know what a lot of Tanzanians say to me today, and my wife used to say this to me, but I've opened her mind. Tanzanians say to me today, Jesse, the reason witchcraft cannot affect you is because you don't believe in it. Yeah. And I say, so what does that tell you then? That's the easy answer. If you don't believe, then it won't affect you. So stop believing. And my wife said to me, Jesse, you don't understand. We've been raised with these beliefs. And I said, I don't care. It doesn't matter if you've been raised with these beliefs. Kids are raised believing in Father Christmas, Santa Claus, but then they get to a certain age and they know it's not real. So do you want to grow as a person, or do you want to stay down? Like, so when I see Tanzanians believing in witchcraft and commenting on my posts, like, don't post your baby. Oh my God. It's like, wake up. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, the government does not believe in witchcraft. So you cannot take witchcraft as an evidence to the court.
Really? I didn't know that. Okay, that's brilliant. I'm going to use that.
They do believe.
Yeah, but officially, the government don't believe. I'm going to use that. Okay, yeah.
So now as a parent, You have a son, as we talked about,
Mm.
and he's half British, half Tanzanian,
Yes.
basically. When he turns 18, he has to choose between
Yeah.
Tanzania and the UK. And behind the cameras, we talked, and you said you do not want to raise your child in Tanzania.
Yeah.
But right now, he's in Tanzania. So why do you not want to raise your child here in a city full of love? Because personally, whenever I talk to Musa, whenever I'm in the UK, I'll talk to Musa. Musa will be like, "Why did you sound down?" And I'm like, to be honest, for me, UK is a depressing country.
It is.
I don't think UK. I think UK is just filled with. For you to enjoy life, you have to be so rich, richer than even. Because I have a lot of American friends. When my American friends comes to the UK, and I tell them, for example, how much a flat is in London,
They can't believe it.
they can't believe it.
Yeah,
They're like, "I'll buy a mansion with that price in
yeah.
America," and whatever we do, they're like, "Oh, this is so expensive. This is so like life is just so expensive in the UK."
Yeah, taxes.
So you have to be ridiculously rich to enjoy life.
Yeah.
So
why
would you want to choose the UK to raise your son rather than Tanzania?
So I'm not going to choose the UK. It's going to be somewhere else, somewhere like Spain or even somewhere like Argentina. I used to live in Argentina. Somewhere like Spain. So this is the thing, right? I would love to raise my son in Tanzania and my future children. However, the reality is, and this will be hard for a lot of people to accept, but the reality is, in my opinion, a child cannot reach his or her full potential in Tanzania. So 99.9% of every human being on the planet is an average person. What I mean by average is, I don't mean average looking, right? What I mean is they have average goals. They're born, they're raised, they think, okay, I'll go to university, maybe I'll get a job. In the UK, you get a job, you work until you're 60, you retire, you have your kids, you have grandkids, you die, right? Yeah. Most people are average, but Diamond Platinums is not average. Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, they're not average. They are superstars. And I do not plan on raising average children. I plan on raising superstars, at least giving it my best to raise superstars. If my son is not the next Lionel Messi, I will accept that. It's very difficult to become the next Lionel Messi or to become the next Diamond Platinums, but at least we will try our best. Now, take football, for example. I'm crazy about football. I will push my son into football and he will like it because a child is a product of his environment. So I will raise him in an environment where he loves football. I will train with him every day. As soon as he can walk, he's going to be doing press-ups every day. That's the kind of lifestyle he's going to have. It's kind of going to be a bit militant, And sometimes people say to me, "Oh, you shouldn't push your child." And I'm like, what? Yes, you should. You should push your child, because if you don't push your child in something and you just give them total freedom, that's how a lot of children, for example, end up in like the LGBTQ community, because they have too much freedom. They're like, "Oh, I want to be a girl." It's like, no, you are a boy. You are not a girl. So there has to be some kind of control, right? So let me get back to the original point. Football. My son is going to be a football player. Tanzania is crazy about football, but there are hardly any football academies. Take the two biggest football teams in Tanzania, which are two of the biggest teams in Africa, Simba and Yanga. They are watched by millions of people every week. They don't have academies. I'm going to say that again. I know you guys understood me. I want the viewers to get this. Simba and Yanga, the two biggest teams in Tanzania, do not have academies. Yeah. There is no system for the youth. It's only if you have a lot of money where you can pay for a private football education, a private academy, like your dad was talking about. But that's not good enough. There needs to be a system where a talented kid playing on the streets of wherever, not just Dar es Salaam, the streets of Butiama, whatever, he has an opportunity to make it. And it's not just football, it's rugby, wrestling, boxing, tennis, acting, singing, drums, guitar, all of these things. Where is the opportunity in Tanzania? You will find it in very hidden places and at a very high price, but it shouldn't be that way. Where, Daniel Radcliffe, the actor who played Harry Potter, where is the next Daniel Radcliffe? He's not in Tanzania. And I'm sure, unfortunately, the next Lionel Messi, he's not in Tanzania.
But instead of, obviously, there's the criticisms, but instead of you saying, I'm going to take my son elsewhere, why don't you start building that system as you were doing with the child marriages? Why don't you start advocating for this? Okay. You have Bongozozo, who's very close to the ministry. Why don't you use that path?
I love my son too much to risk his success in an attempt to build a country. That's not even my own country. Why should in Swahili, I'm a mgeni, I'm a visitor. Why should I or Bongozozo be the ones to try to lift the sporting facilities in Tanzania? No.
You saw the need to leave your country, to come to the country, to come work on child marriages. Why don't you want to do the same for a passion that you have?
Yeah, I had that in my heart. I saw these young children suffering and I thought, oh my God, I have to go and help them. I didn't see anyone else helping them. But now that I've become a dad and I've always wanted to be a dad, and I've got my one son now and I know I'm going to have many more children, I'm not willing to because if I spend 5 years here in Tanzania trying to build the facilities of sport here in Tanzania, that's 5 years of my son's life, crucial years, wasted. What's he doing? Playing football on bad pitches, like the pitches that have stones on them? No. And at the end of the day, it's not my responsibility to build a country. My responsibility is to be a good person, be a good father. I have a responsibility on social media to my followers, to give good content, whatever. But I would love to see Tanzania thrive. I love Tanzania more than many Tanzanians love Tanzania. But I'm not willing to risk my child's future on it, So we're here now. We're not in a rush to leave. But when he is like 4, 5, 6 years old, I want to be living in Spain. I used to live in Spain. I speak Spanish, or Argentina, or Italy, even somewhere like Greece, but not the UK. Because I agree with you, the UK is not a good place to live right now. You mentioned everything. The cost of living is ridiculous. I saw a video the other day that said like the average salary in the UK like 20 years ago was only like £2,000 less than it is now. It was like £23,000, and now it's like £25,000. But the average cost of a house has gone up 10 times. So salaries don't match the cost of living. Yeah. And a lot of Tanzanians, they just think that every white person, every Mzungu is rich. But it's not the case. Like in Swahili, I would say, ata sisi tunapambana maisha. Even us, we are fighting because, we might earn more money than the average Tanzanian, but we pay 100 times more for our life. Yeah.
One thing you just said that you do not intend to change the whole country. But what I think is you are changing the whole country because, the smallest unit of a country is a family.
Yes.
So as long as you are striving to build your family for the better, you are building a country as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's very nice. And also that question that Monty asked you, it actually relates to him as well. So I want to ask Monty as well, why did you decide to go and get your education in Britain and have the British citizenship other than Tanzanian citizenship?
Good question.
When we came here today, I thought this was all about Jesse, but I think the ball now has been thrown to my court. Maybe if you do, can you repeat your question?
The audience might want to know.
Can you repeat your question?
Because you asked Jesse, why does he decide to raise his kids elsewhere? Mm-hmm. Because he said there are a lot of better opportunities there. And I'm asking you, why were you raised in the UK other than Tanzania? What's the benefit of that?
Sorry, what's your son's name?
Xylo.
I don't think Xylo has the chance or the decision making of him saying that I'm going to be raised in Tanzania America or UK, it's not down to him. It's down to his dad. So me being raised in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, UK, it's not really me. It's more of my parents. They decided to do that.
So they saw that you are better off.
No, not
there.
saying that.
Yeah.
So if my dad was sitting here, he'd be a better person to answer this question.
Yeah.
But we see why he's answered the question, like his reasoning.
Yeah.
That's why I asked him as a father. But I'm a son, so I don't know the reason.
Yeah.
So if I was a father,
Yeah. But you see, like,
we can ask him. He's one day.
I think what happens in Tanzania lots of the time is we have the private schools in Tanzania, which are very expensive. You know, the price of IST, what's it called? International School of Tanganyika. Yeah. I think it's like $30,000 a year, right? Something like that. It's probably 0.1% of the Tanzanian population can afford that.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is 0.0001% of the population who can afford that, they send their kids to those schools. But other people who they still have money, but maybe a bit less money, they will send their kids abroad to get an education. And then once the kid has gone abroad to get an education, for example, the Dewji family, right? I used to be very close with Fatima Dewji, Mo Dewji's sister. Her and I think all of her siblings, they all studied at Georgetown University in America, one of the top universities in America. Why? Why not study in Tanzania? I'm not criticizing the Dewji family. I'm simply asking why. The answer is because it's a better education over there. And what a lot of Tanzanians or Africans will do is they will raise their children outside of Tanzania. They will get rich, or they already are rich outside of Tanzania. Then they will come back to Tanzania, and the kid will inherit the father's business, or the kid will have certain money from being outside, and then he'll come back to Tanzania and invest in Tanzania. But why do they do that? Because the opportunities are better outside, and then you can come back to Tanzania and reap the rewards. So it's very interesting because, like, for example, I was in Ghana in December and January, and I promise you, I did this myself. If you ask 100 Ghanaians, do you want to leave Ghana today and go to England or America? 99 of them will say, yes, where's the ticket? And they don't ever want to come back. Whereas if you ask 100 Tanzanians, do you want to go to the UK now? Many of them will say, yeah, I would like to go to the UK, but just for a short time, then I'll come back to Tanzania. So Tanzanians will go to England. It could be for a few years, or it could be for a holiday, but it could be for a few years. They'll go to England or America, build their life somehow, and then they will always want to come back to Tanzania because they love Tanzania. And Tanzania is a much better country than the likes of Ghana. Ghana, I'm sorry, Ghanaians, but Ghana is just, I don't like Ghana. I'm probably going to get criticized a lot for that. But I promise you, Ghanaians and Nigerians, they're desperate to leave their country, to say goodbye and never return. But Tanzanians don't have that. Tanzanians love their country, but they understand that the opportunities are better outside. So they're kind of caught in the middle. What should I do?
But don't you think even the people you asked, because I'm pretty sure if you go to Kariakor right now and ask them, do you want to go? It depends what you ask them. If you ask someone to go to Dubai right now, because Dubai is known for a lot of Tanzanians being there working.
Yeah.
If you offer them to go to Dubai, maybe most of them will just say yes.
Yeah, they'll go, but I'm sure they would come back at a certain point.
So your point is Ghanaians never wanted to come.
Yeah, mate, Ghanaians and I'm really not disrespecting Ghanaians. This is just the truth. And I even made a video about this when I was in Ghana. Honestly, you speak to your average Ghanaian, and I mean your average Ghanaian. I don't mean your millionaire Ghanaians.
Yeah.
They're not happy with their country. They're sick of the corruption. The roads are awful. You think the roads in Masaki are bad? The roads in Ghana are awful.
I remember I saw a video of you guys driving with Bongozozo.
Yeah. There's just hardly anything going on there. Anything.
Is this Accra?
Yeah, Accra. I traveled around other parts of Ghana too, to the Gold Coast. It's called, Gold Coast. So, yeah.
So before we proceed, we're talking about your son. You know, this video is going to stay here for lifetime. Your son will see this. I would like you to take a minute to leave a emotional 1-minute message to your son, who is now 18, looking back at this video.
Maybe you shouldn't try to be more emotional. Just leave your thoughts.
Oh, sorry. Leave the emotional part alone.
Yeah.
Just
I won't cry.
leave a 1-minute message to your son, who is now 18, looking at this video. You just talked about him becoming a superstar.
Yeah.
With God's blessings, he's a superstar, or say he's not. I want you to leave, as a father, leave a message for him.
Xylo, my boy, I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you, because I know that you have worked so hard at whatever it is that you apply yourself to, whether that's football. I know you probably just finished playing football right now, huh? Whether that's football, boxing, wrestling, art, music, whatever it is, I know that you'll give your 100% maximum effort, because you know if you don't, I'll beat you. So yeah, that's it, Xylo. I love you so much, and I'm proud of you.